What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 90s First Podcasting Network. My name is Mike, and alongside my co-host Joe, we take a look at some 90s content that we just can't stop watching. Join us on our flagship show, the 90s First Show. We look at some 90s content that Joe and I are watching, as well as some current stuff, and we end it with a 90s trivia contest. Or join us on Test Your Might, a video game debate show where we battle it out on the current news. Joe hosts as our good buddy Cicero and I try to get the high ground and go 1000 IQ against each other. If you would like to connect with us, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the 90s First. And finally, if you would like to support us monetarily, we have a Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/the 90s First to show general support for as little as $1 a month. So whether you're listening to the 90s First show or Test Your Might, Joe and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope that you have a blessed day. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, our weekly video game debate show on the current news. My name is Mike. In the hosting chair today, we had to record on a different night, and so Jelly can't be with us. So I'm going to host for these two gentlemen. First of all, as always, Cicero Holmes. How you doing today? The Mafia Lord himself.
Doing well. Say hi to your mother for me.
Okay. All right. Don't get on his bad side, listeners. And we welcome back a good friend of ours, Sean Rugg. Welcome. How's it going, Sean? It's been a while.
Hi. It's going good. It's going well.
It's going good? Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. How's you are long-term subbing this semester. How's that going so far?
It's going good. It's going well. Yeah. Actually doing some teaching, which is good. And surprising when you're subbing usually, so.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Get your foot in that door and then get hired. Full time.
Yep.
That's the goal. All right. Well, hey, listeners, we just want to ask you guys so much, and we would greatly appreciate you guys leaving us a review. No matter where you're at, you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, hit us up with a review so we could see how we're doing and what we could do to improve. As well as you can email us at the 90s First Podcast at gmail.com to let us know any suggestions, what we're doing good, what we need to improve on, just so that we could get the best content out there. Me, Cicero, and Jelly actually had a meeting this past couple days or whatnot, and we're going to be doing some changes to Test Your Might just to make it more accessible and to be better content for you guys. So stay tuned for that. That will be next episode. Anyway, guys, we are continuing our series for Question of the Day. We've been going through our favorite games from each generation and each console in that generation. So we are on to the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube generation. So, Sean, you're our guest. We'll start with you. What is your favorite game from each of those consoles?
All right. So I'll start with Xbox. Crazy Taxi 3.
There you go. Crazy Taxi.
Partly the soundtrack, partly it was the game my sister actually played. We just took turns swapping on it, and it was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah. PlayStation 2, hard to pick, but Guitar Hero 2, I think. I wish it was Final Fantasy X2, but I just wasn't secure enough with myself back when it came out to fall in love with it the way I think I would now if I had the time to play it. And then for GameCube, it's got to be Smash Bros. Melee, although Thousand Year Door is really close.
Okay. Guitar Hero 2. That didn't even go across my mind, and it's like
I thought it would be
of all time.
I thought it would be a weird one, even though like a ton of people played it. I think people just like forget that they had a good time with it.
Oh yeah, Guitar Hero 2 was great because that was the first year too that they really got the license to have like actual music as the tracks instead of like covers and stuff. So
yeah.
Man, Guitar Hero 2 and Guitar Hero 3 I played on the 360 as well, but man, good choices. Cicero, what are your favorite games from each of those systems?
PS2, no surprise, I've said it before, GTA 3. The Xbox, man, I want to say Halo, but it's Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
And GameCube was the very first time I played Animal Crossing. It's the very first time anyone played Animal Crossing.
Anyone did.
Yeah, so yeah, Animal Crossing.
I was never. What's the draw of Animal Crossing? I've never gotten into it. Like, why is it so popular?
Because you can't lose.
Can't lose.
Right?
Okay.
You know, so you get to create, you get to exist. You don't have to, like, you can take your time and do what you want, how you want, at your pace in this game. And, like, it's just, it's like the Seinfeld of games. It's a game about nothing, right? You know, and you just, that's the game. What's the game? You make your house up, and if you don't play the game, you get ants. And you gotta chase them out. Yeah, you gotta chase them out.
Are we talking the Geico commercial where you get ants, or are we talking like ants?
No, you get not aunts, you get ants.
Wait, aunts?
Aunts, yes, aunts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how do you pronounce uncle?
Uncle.
Oh, okay.
Or you know, from a little kid, uncle. Yeah, I mean, it's just a game where you get to just do things, right? And nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Or can tell you that they're doing it better than you. You just get to play.
That's true.
And there are events that happen in real life at the same time.
Real time.
You know, yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever get into it still, but thank you. All right. So I'm gonna start with PS2. And the game that I played the most, that thinking back on it, and it's probably my favorite, NBA Street Volume 2. Oh man, such a beautiful game. One of the best sports games of all time, in my opinion. They need to bring back the series. They really do. Xbox, I spent a lot of time at a friend's house playing this game and its sequel on the original Xbox. So it got up there on my list here. So Max Payne, the original Max Payne, I'm going to put that as my favorite Xbox game. I loved the mechanics, loved the ability to slow down time, gun time, and stuff like that. So, and plus, pretty crazy story behind it as well. So, GameCube, I have to go with Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil. Sean's like, dang it.
Yep.
Resident Evil 4, it's probably my favorite Resident Evil, and it was the best on the GameCube. And in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, did it come out first on the GameCube?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it came to the GameCube first out of any of them as an exclusive for a little
bit.
bit.
It definitely had the best controller for the GameCube. Yeah. That chainsaw controller. I worked at GameStop when that game came out and that controller came out, and oh man, I wish I bought one.
Dang,
I wish I bought one.
So
I think Resident Evil 4 is like the first game I bought on two different consoles, because I bought it on the Wii later. So I guess, yeah, it had to come out on GameCube first because the Wii had the PlayStation 2 extras, which
it did. Yeah,
would have probably come after, yeah. So.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, I've bought the HD remaster on my Xbox Series X, so I'm definitely planning on revisiting it. I have the PlayStation 2 copy right here, so it's one of my favorite games of all time. So, all right, guys, that leads us into what have you been playing? Cicero kind of told us what you've been playing before we were recording, so why don't you let the listeners know?
Yeah, I gave away the gravy. Listeners, as I told these guys, I feel like this is a safe space, and I can level with you guys. I've been having an affair. I've been cheating on my other games with Outriders, and I just don't know. I don't know what to do now. She's taken over my life. She is an obsession. I know she's bad for me. I know it won't last. But right now, she's all I want to do.
We're still talking about Outriders.
Yeah. So, but I'm having a blast with this game right now. I know that it won't last, right? I know that I'm approaching the end of this dance, and it's rising to a crescendo. But I fully anticipate once we get to that point that there won't be anything left to do. And then I'll be able to move on to something else. And I will still very much enjoy the ride that I had with it, and we'll definitely go back and revisit it with friends or to help ferry somebody through, or maybe do role an alt character or something like that. Right, exactly. Compared to you. Right. But yeah, it is the game's a lot of fun. To talk about hours, I am very close to 100. Very close to 100 hours with the game, which for some people is not a lot, but for me, an adult with responsibilities, it is way too many hours. So many hours that it has kind of kept me from the game that I assumed that I'd be playing, which is the show. I have played the show, just not as much as I would have thought I would. And also, I have the show on the PlayStation console series family of consoles as well, but have not played it at all on there. So I can't even give the comparison. I will do that soon to give the comparison from PS4 Pro to Xbox Series X.
Yeah. It is, I'll just segue in. I have been playing the show. The first thing that is extremely funny is seeing a PlayStation logo while I'm booting it up on my Xbox. It's just, it's pretty insane to me. Shout out to the MLB because they made Sony be like play nice and send it on over to the Xbox, and so I've been having a blast. And because also shout out to MLB, they threw it into Game Pass. So I was able to download it day one and started a season with my White Sox, and just getting used to it because I haven't really played a baseball sim since 2019 when I had the show 2019 on my PS4. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But the other game that I have been playing, and I've been playing it mostly via remote on my phone, and also I've tried it on XCloud with touch controls as well, and it works surprisingly well. But it is Monster Sanctuary, and these are games that Sean recommended to me, and then I recommended to Cicero. So basically, if you can imagine Pokemon mixed with Final Fantasy in a 2D 8-bit, like close to 16-bit type deal game, that's what you got. And it's super fun. I've been naming my monsters after Pokemon, actually. So I'm meshing in the two games. So the closest equivalent Pokemon that I could think of to the monster that I have in the game, and so far it's showing me that it's a little bit more about exploration, like uncovering the map and like actually figuring out where to go, versus like, Pokemon, you kind of have this like linear path kind of that you could take. Yeah, there's certain secret areas that you can get to in Pokemon once you learn certain moves, but it's this one's more of a Metroid-y type deal where you're exploring and uncovering more of the map. But so far the turn-based is pretty fun. It's just like Pokemon in the sense of like elements work against the certain elements that they should work against, like water's more powerful against fire, stuff like that, and I'm just having a really good time with it so far. So Sean, what have you been playing?
I've been kind of just on two games for the past couple weeks. I'm maintaining Destiny 2 for friends that got me into it. We've done some like dungeons and stuff lately, and the way they did like doled out some like actual storyline over the season is pretty neat and different from what I've been told is different from how they've done in the past. So that's been kind of interesting. But the main thing that's been taking up my time has been Trials of Fire. Have either of you heard of that?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, it's like a so I love deck builders. What if you had what if just one deck wasn't enough for you? And what if you wanted to have like 3 decks at once? Because this is a deck build, like a roguelike deck building like strategy game, like turn-based strategy, kind of not XCOM-y, but it's like on a map, Fire Emblem kind of. And like the decks are what your characters can do. So like each character has their own little deck that they have like their starting stuff. And then if you like they have slots for equipment, and if you equip them, that equipment might have an ability, but it's definitely going to have like a card or 2 that it just adds to your deck. And there's like a leveling up system where like you can add or remove or like upgrade cards as you go through. It sounds like a lot of systems, but it's not like overwhelming. And they make a good mix with like keeping the size of the decks down and like the size of the maps for each encounter down. That like it feels pretty good. And yeah, it's like a nice trickle of like new things, like new characters to use. There's like a couple different like missions you go through. So like when you pick a mission, you can like, if you've run it before, you kind of know like what the major beats are gonna be. But like as you're going, like getting to those beats along your trip, you'll get like randomized stuff. And you'll have opportunities to like bring different people to that, which adds a cool element of variety, while also getting to like plan for what you want to do. Like when you know the final boss of a thing needs you to have a lot of armor or something, you can like build your way towards that. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Is that on PC? Because this sounds like a mic game.
It is on PC. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but probably not.
Can a mic
like...
PC run it?
Right.
Maybe. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was this game was developed by Exhibit, Pimp My Roguelike. Yo, dog, I heard you like decks, building decks, so we built a deck inside your deck that has a deck that's built inside of it.
Yeah. The real deck is the friends you make along the way.
Yeah,
So one could say this podcasting journey is a deck, because I've made a lot of friends.
Oh,
there you go.
All right, we'll move on after that. Anything else we've been playing? No? Okay, cool. All right, it is time for the news. All right, we have a couple of news topics here, and first all, what was really crazy and kind of unexpected, at least in the gaming industry, Jeff Kaplan is leaving Blizzard. If you guys don't know who Jeff Kaplan is, he's behind Overwatch. That's probably one of his top games that he was behind, and obviously he was a designer and creator behind many of the other Blizzard titles as well. So, Cicero, we'll get your take first. Jeff Kaplan leaving Blizzard. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it definitely. Well, so I guess the manner in which he left is the weirdest part. Like, because like, I mean, people leave jobs, right? Like that's the thing, and it is a weird thing in the industry. I guess when a principal or someone who has been around for a long time, they leave, they go on to someplace else or just leave. It's newsworthy, but it's that's just, it's business. Things happen. But Jeff Kaplan announced his resignation in an email to one of the voice actors in the game.
Yeah. It was a pretty crazy turn of events.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
If you could send a shout out to like my boss that I'm resigning, that'd be great.
Right. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm good. Look, I mean, that's a flex. Like if you can do it that way and nobody seems to care, then you got it, man.
Right.
You got it. Like,
Sean, any thoughts on this?
I had no idea that was the manner in which. Otherwise, I'm like totally with Cicero on this one. Like, yeah, business, but weird exit strategy for sure.
The strategery behind it was well thought.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, just the way that he left and kind of out of the blue, certainly. And I think Blizzard is going to, obviously they're losing somebody big, but we'll see how they respond and what they keep on doing. Overwatch 2 is coming. I guess let's talk about what's the future of Blizzard right now. I mean, we got Overwatch 2, we got Diablo 2, the Resurrection edition, Resurrected or something like that. I mean, do you like the future prospects of Blizzard here, Sean?
Sure. I don't pay enough attention to Blizzard at a time to care about what they do. Honestly, I did Overwatch for a bit, but I burned myself out way too quickly on it, and it's a game maybe I'll dip back in for 2, hopefully, but honestly that's kind of up in the air. And I loved Diablo 2 back in the day, but I don't see myself returning to those types of games nowadays. I've just kind of moved past it personally.
Dang,
so they could do better with me, I guess.
Pillars of Eternity, dang it. Cicero, the future of Blizzard, does it look chilly? Or
gosh, you're such a great dad. They're fine, right? We're not talking about somebody that while Jeff Kaplan, incredibly important to both Blizzard and especially to Overwatch, and his contributions were pivotal to the success of that particular franchise and the organization as a whole. I think they've insulated themselves enough that Jeff Kaplan's exit isn't going to affect them in one way, shape, or form. It is just business. Again, it'll be interesting to see what he does next. But as far as what Blizzard's going to do next is whatever they said that they were going to be doing, and it's going to look exactly the same whether he was there or now that he's gone.
Yeah. All right. Well, we hope to see you soon again, Jeff, because let's be honest, Overwatch, I love Overwatch. So probably one of the most balanced first-person shooters that I've ever played. Yeah. So certainly.
It was a hell of a success, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Jeff Kaplan.
It still is a success.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Jeff Kaplan, if you're listening, and I know he is, enjoy your vacation, man. It is well earned.
Pina coladas around. All right. Next on the docket here, really quick for our news, XCloud is rolling onto Apple products and PC in a beta through the Safari browser on Apple products and then browsers on PC. Cicero, we got to go your way first, and the reason being is because you've actually had a little bit of access to the PC side of it. So let us know some of your thoughts here.
As people may know, I have attempted to try all of the streaming game services with the exception of PlayStation Now, but at least all the browser-based ones, and received an invitation to play some XCloud in the Chromecast, or not the Chrome beta, or browser beta, and went in and played a little Outriders.
Surprise.
My mistress, and I was in the camp, and I ran around for about 2 minutes, and then I turned it off. So I'll say this much, that one of the great things about Destiny or Stadia is that for Destiny 2 is that you can play PvE on Stadia, Destiny 2, right? Destiny 2 PvE on Stadia, and it's competent. You know, it may not look the best, but it looks good enough, and you can play it, and it is competent to be played that way. So if you're just doing some farming, you want to do some single player grinding or what have you, small fire teams, you could do that. But I would not consider XCloud to be in a state where I could do that type of thing either in Destiny 2 or Outriders, which is, you know, my Destiny, my version of Destiny. It's not there yet. It's not ready yet. It will get to that point. I have little doubt. But at this point right now, it is not there. But the more people test it, the more people give that type of feedback to Microsoft, they'll be able to tune it and make it so that it is that way. And I had a conversation on Twitter today, in fact, about whether or not the future of gaming is cloud gaming. And I really honestly believe it is. I believe that once you've experienced it and realize, like, oh yeah, I could start playing my games immediately. I don't need to download them. I don't need to worry about installs. I don't need to worry about updates. They just, I just turn them on and I just start playing. It's very, very liberating, and it's definitely going to be the way that you want to play your games going forward. So it is definitely the future. It's just not here right now. Yeah. The future is not the present.
Sean, we'll go from this angle for you, for your thoughts. XCloud is finally on Apple products. Like, Xbox is everywhere. I mean, right now, via the XCloud. What are your thoughts on that? Like, Apple was playing hard to get. Basically, they didn't want XCloud, to actually have an app on there to be used, because they wanted them to rate each of the games they wanted to buy for purchase and stuff, and Apple wanted their cut, and so Microsoft's like, all right, we'll just use your browser. But Xbox is everywhere. What kind of flag in the poll would you say that Xbox is having? What's that saying?
What?
Where you stick
Flag in
the
the ground.
Feather in the cap?
the flag in the ground.
Right, oh, yes. Plant
There's
your
a
flag.
poll on the flag. It's in the
Yes.
ground.
Yes.
I think I'm always happy when someone breaks through, like Apple trying to control everything. Sure, it was like another enormous company doing it, but I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
And that's it. That was Sean's flag in the poll. All right. Yeah. So, like, Cicero was just talking about the PC stuff. XCloud does work pretty well, like on the phone with some. I would say some. I've only played like smaller games like Slay the Spire and I've been playing Monster Sanctuary a little bit. So, and it does work a little bit. Even my internet's not that good. But just to echo his Cicero's stuff, like, yeah, let's just give it a little time. It will get there. And XCloud and Game Pass will be, guys, it is, I kind of agree with Cicero. It is going to be the future of gaming, really. So, you guys ready for rapid fire? To rapid fire?
Yes.
Fire when ready.
Sure. All right, it's time for rapid fire, guys.
Oh my! He's on fire!
Sean, we'll go your way first. PlayStation Plus is adding Sony movies to the service. This is to be tested in Poland for a year. I don't know why Poland, but what are your thoughts?
That's good, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'm good. More ways to watch, like, media and stuff. More access and stuff is good. Yeah.
Cool.
Final answer.
Cicero, CDProjekt Red says they learned a huge lesson from Cyberpunk. you surprised?
I'm shocked.
Shocked.
I'm shocked that they've learned a lesson. I'm curious to learn to know what lesson it is that they've learned.
Yeah. I think we will see that in the coming years. They announced something, and we could talk about it later, but they announced something that doesn't sound like they've learned their lesson to me.
I mean, they learned. I know what the lesson they learned was. It was they can completely, like, crap the bed and have the most profitable year ever. Is what they learned.
And,
so.
and then from that profit, they could learn that they could co-develop Witcher and Cyberpunk franchises at the same time. Yeah, okay. We'll see about that. All right. Sean, Apex Legends has been officially announced for mobile. I know it's your favorite BR, and I know I should be answering this question, but what's your thoughts, Sean?
You know what? It's my favorite BR in that. Oh no, I've played two. I like it better than Fortnite. So yeah, I'm happy more people are getting to play some Apex. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's good. I just wasn't good at it. Maybe playing against phone kids will help me. I'll give it a download.
Oh, that's funny. Shout out to IGN, who just ranked Apex Legends as their #1 battle royale. So I couldn't agree more. Speaking of The Witcher, Monster Slayer AR Witcher game being developed. Cicero, do we need this?
Sure. Like, I mean, they're going to make a game. Somebody's going to play it, like, it'll be fun. Like, as long as, if it comes out in a time where people can enjoy it outside, when it's safe to be outside, then sure. But like, if it comes out and everyone still has to be in their house, then what were you ARing in the closet?
I know Pokemon Go did some things for the pandemic. They changed some things with their game.
So so as long as it's like, if you can do this in the summertime and people can get outside and get some exercise, start walking around and doing stuff, then yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right. I don't know if we need it or not, but Witcher fans are there. You might be in. All right. Sean, I'm giving you the battle royale stuff, and you don't even play this game. All right.
Do you want to give this to me?
I'm just giving it to Cicero because he plays this game. Verdunks, as we know it, is no more. Raven Software has said the new 1984 version of Verdunks is here to stay. Thoughts, Cicero? And Sean, I guess if you want to say something.
So right now, my non-official polling of the community is that we don't like it, but I think we don't like it because it's new, not necessarily because it's bad, but it's different, right? And gamers are change averse, so it's here to stay. So if people are going to play it, if people still want to play the game, this is what they're going to have to play.
I have heard Raven did say that the changes are good for like bugs in the map too. So like, for example, those stupid rocks that you couldn't climb,
right?
Now you could climb and get around them. So the changes are good. Sean, I know you hated those rocks.
Rocks, a bane.
All right, guys. Well, that's been rapid fire. That was pretty rapid. I enjoyed it. I don't think anybody is on fire, though. So, who knows? All right, it's time to test your might. You guys ready to argue? Duke it out? You got your dukes out? Cicero came to play. I don't know if you know, but his background right now, Sean, is a vicious dunk done by John Stark in the 90s. And it was a vicious dunk. I mean, that's Michael Jordan right there.
This is just one of the many references to things I am connected to deeply that's happening on this episode.
Absolutely. Sean knows it's not only a dunk, it is called the dunk.
The dunk?
The dunk.
Look, I went to the Ohio State University. I know about all of the
exactly
these.
all the these.
I know all of them.
Yes.
It's a list. That's a course
Yes.
you have to take.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
The
and,
Ohio State,
you know,
the U.
just to inform Cicero, just to keep him informed, the dunk was Michael Jordan on Patrick Ewing. All right.
No.
Oh, got him.
This one
Got
is
him.
titled The Dunk. That was
Dunk.
just a 1 in a million dunks.
Yeah.
That
One
both
in the million.
Jordan
dunks.
did on people and also on Ewing. That was the thing that John Thompson taught all Georgetown centers was how to get dunked on.
Complete side note, Cicero. Did you watch the Ready or Not, the '96 draft?
Oh yes,
Documentary?
yes I did.
That was
Yes I
good.
did.
That was
Amazing.
good. I know.
Amazing.
Sean thought it was great too.
Yeah.
I do love a movie called Ready or Not. So I mean,
There you go.
Is that the recent horror movie?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the hide and seek movie.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I heard it got good reviews. All right, time to test your might. Bong. All right, let's go.
Test your might.
All right, Gran Turismo and Kojima Baseball have officially been announced as Olympic sports. What game would actually be the best Olympic sport? So you guys have to choose a game that you think would be the best Olympic sport, and why is it better than your opponents? Sean, we'll start your way first. Go ahead.
Not bad. All right. I've come to my deliberations right now. Monster Hunter. Just anyone. You got to hunt a monster in Monster Hunter. And obviously it'll be pre-approved. It's probably a monster made, for each event every 4 years or whatever, or for each stage of the events. I'm not a logistics person. But it's a game that takes a lot of technical know-how, a lot of stamina. These fights can take a long time depending on which Monster Hunter game you're playing. There's a lot of room for, different idiosyncrasies, like what weapons you're using. Maybe you're doing you could also do like a co-op situation, like either a one bracket or a 2-player bracket. Yeah, I think monster hunting is the future of all sports,
Of all sports.
video or otherwise.
All right, Mr. The Dunk as his background. Sean's calling out sports with Monster Hunter. What do you got?
Well, so when you think about the Olympics, you think about many nations training hard, being incredibly strategic about what they're doing and performing at the highest level. And there's only one game that epitomizes all of those things, and that is Crash Bandicoot. No, it is
Crash Bandicoot, you said?
It really should be Smash Bros.
Okay.
Yeah, Smash Bros. Because this is a game where you get lots of people all around the world playing at high levels. You could have tournaments where the best of the best of the best play, and then you can also do doubles and quad tournaments. So you can do things like it could be like the track and field of esports Olympics, where you could do like relays where you tag everybody in, and then you can do full on quad fights, 8-on-8, or 4v4, and you could just do all sorts of wild things.
Sean, rebuttal.
We don't need another soccer. Like, we don't need another game that like everyone is familiar with and has access to, and can just walk into the Olympics with. You need something that needs, a high floor as well as a high ceiling. And I think Smash the floor's too low.
But that's, part of the joy of the Olympics is the little kid who's sitting there and he's watching the Olympics, and he's sitting there with his mom, and she says, Dakota, you could do this too. If you dream and you work hard enough, you could be just like them. You see that GameCube right there, that GameCube controller. I'm gonna get you a Switch, and we're gonna play Ultimate Smash Bros. And you can play and get better. You want the little version of yourself, little young Sean, his ponytail barely formed, to be able to aspire to compete at the highest level. And so you don't want the ceiling to be, you don't want the floor to be so high that it is unapproachable by just the plebeian. You want to be able to make someone feel like they can rise up, like they can Katniss Everdeen themselves into the high court.
Any more on
Yeah,
Monster
I would love.
Hunter?
I mean, I don't need to speak any more about Monster Hunter itself, other than to say that it's got Rise in the title, one of them, to rise up to. But more importantly, I don't want to be the mother that's going to her kid and say, yes, one day you too can beat the crap out of Mario. I want to be like, yes, one day you too can, destroy a Tyrannosaurus Rex that, will maybe destroy this village. That seems more inspiring to me. I don't know.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, this, this digital village that's all well and good, but like, what are the logistics of playing Monster Hunter? Like, are is everyone going to start at a certain level? Are they going to have certain weapons, certain armor already picked out for them?
So I think I originally said people could just pick their things, but I think the way it goes is going to be, instead of having like a weight class or like that sort of situation, it'll be like weapon class, match it up that way, perhaps. Have like, and maybe not just every individual weapon, but like the types of weapons could be grouped in a way, you just have best like slashing class, piercing, whatever,
And how do you determine a winner?
It's probably a point system. It's probably more like I was gonna say acrobatics, but it's probably a mix of points and time.
So
for like pulling off certain maneuvers,
Right. So this is again. So this is where we when you pull in, right, 10,000 foot view. Monster Hunter sounds great. Like, this is something different. This is something unique. You can bring some new blood and new energy into the Olympics. But then as you dive bomb down, like the pterodactyl that you're hunting, as it gets closer, sees that meal is actually really scrawny, because the devil's in the details with Monster Hunter. You don't know how this is going to work. That's going to be just rife with like drama, and what happens when the Polish judge gets paid off in some Ukrainian scandal or something to that effect. You don't want any of that. With Smash, it's definitive, right? There is a winner and there is a loser, and you have a tournament, and that's it. It's done. It's real simple. You can get a first, a second, and a third place. You can get a gold, silver, and a bronze. Done.
I think Mike's not gonna like this. I think I have a compromise here. Smash in Summer Olympics, and Monster Hunter in the Winter Olympics, because what you just described sounded a lot of like figure skating, like ice skating to me. So I think it fits there better. Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. I think I like this. We could work with this.
Yeah,
we could work with this. Monster Hunter is definitely a winter sport. Monster hunting.
They did have Monster Hunter Iceborne as a
they have a whole DLC acknowledging that.
Gentlemen, I'm going to go on your basic arguments there. And although, Sean, I really like the premise of having, just like, I think with your argument, if you wait a little bit more into creating different monsters for each challenge, and maybe having the same class that everybody takes on that monster with, and seeing how long the stamina, how long it takes to endure that fight. I think if you did that, you would have won this argument. But I think Cicero, just with this basic, you fight 1v1 and you're done. This is the type of argument.
You didn't even do that.
I'm giving it to Cicero. Gets this one. All right. Next argument. Jim Ryan says that the PS5 will have more exclusives than the PS4. Do you think the team over at Xbox is in a position to parallel that statement and to really combat it? So, Cicero, do you think they're in the spot or no?
I mean, sure, they're in a spot. They keep, like if they're not in that spot, they'll just buy another company so that they can be in that spot, right? Like, and to be honest, yes, they're definitely in a spot to parallel that statement, just based on relativity, right? Like, so relative to the Xbox One, it's almost impossible for the Series X and S not to have more exclusives, or at least first parties, than the Xbox One did, because it was very, very light for the Xbox One, at least notable ones. There were quite a few, but I think even though that there were quite a few, when you think about it, with all of the acquisitions that Microsoft's made, they have no choice but to have more.
Sean, your stance.
My stance is I misread the question earlier today.
I also mistyped it.
Okay.
Potentially. I mean, there's the word parrot in it. I have no idea what that means.
Well, parrot also means like, to mimic what they said.
Yeah, I think, this was totally on my side of it. I think.
So let me ask
it just
you
makes
this.
No sense to say no.
It makes no sense to say no.
It makes no sense to say that like they couldn't just like have more games coming out. They have a lot more IP, and if it's the council, if they pitching as a council, you're staying for a long time. They can have it last until it's true if they really want to make it true.
You guys are supposed to argue.
Just to spite me. All right, we can argue about how likely it is that they're trying to just spite me specifically, because if I say that now, I'm just kidding.
The argument I was going for was like, do you think the PS5 has too much going for it, and then adding even more exclusives just is
so that's the way I read it, because like initially when I read it, I was like, well, PS5 have more than Xbox, but it sounds like the way the question is written is now is that just the Xbox have more than the new Xboxes have more than the old Xboxes.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. All right, next question.
Right.
Because I was prepared for the one you apparently wanted to ask. But this is fine. We can go. We can move on.
Go ahead and answer the real question, and I will continue to answer the question that I interpreted, and everything will go.
Everything will be fine. It'll be great.
Right.
No.
Oh, guys, things just go awry when I'm hosting. It really does. Anyway.
But no, actually, to be honest, Mike, I am very interested to hear Sean's thoughts on the question that you actually asked.
Okay. All right. Sean, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I have a very simple answer to why PS5 sold more. Jim Ryan, just name alone, seems a very trustworthy guy. I'm sure he did the math. He calculated, he got his little abacus out and was like, all right, PS5 is getting this much. Xbox Series S is going to get this much. We got it in the bag. There's no reason not to trust this guy.
Oh, man. He's got a trustworthy name.
Also, Microsoft's clearly cowards. They didn't say. They could have easily at any point said, hey, we got Bethesda. There are exclusives now, and they haven't done that. So too cowardly to keep a lock on the exclusives they need to surpass the PS5.
And done. All right.
Yeah. There you go.
One of you wins that argument.
Right.
But you will never know.
The argument you had with yourself.
All right. All right, guys. It's time for pitching a game. So we got 2 questions in a row where you're going to kind of pitch a game.
Right.
The first one here. It Takes Two has sold 1 million copies. And I was doing the math earlier, and for $40 a game, that's a lot of money. So what will be the next best co-op experience? Pitch the game. Sean, you're first. What is your co-op experience? I think you're muted.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh no, I was muted. Yeah, I think the best co-op experience game, the next best one is Podcast Simulator. These sim games are, always kind of around and have their highs and lows. I think everyone has a podcast nowadays, and now everyone can have a virtual one too. And all the good ones are a pair or more of people.
Right.
That's co-op. It's co-op, baby.
Yeah.
All right, I'm interested to hear more of what this podcast game is all about. But Cicero, what is your co-op experience, and why would it be better than Podcast Simulator?
To be honest, I don't know if it could be better than Podcast Simulator.
So Sean wins this one.
That's pretty brilliant. So the my game will actually be called Rideshare. Right? It is completely a co-op experience where every time it is 2 players, where one player plays the rideshare driver and the other player plays the rideshare rider. And they wind up swapping at random points during the game, and sometimes they don't even know who they are playing as, and that is the game. And we'll get more detail as we go forward.
Did you just hit us with the more details coming soon?
Yes. 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 Always leaving one more. 5 out of 5.
Everything. You know what? I'm not blaming it on me. It's you two. Every time it is Sean and Cicero on the show arguing, I can't even hold it together. Podcast Simulator. Tell me about it.
I mean, you know all about it. It's your life. It's just gamified.
Darn it. All right, Sean wins. Podcast Simulator. Although your premise for rideshare is kind of fun. Like if you, you could be just riding along, just sitting on your cell phone as the passenger, and then just randomly switch over to the driver, and then you're automatically in a house.
Right. So it's like, so rideshare simulator. The rider will can improv like commands, like, oh, can you change to this Spotify channel? Here's my Spotify playlist, and it's like all sorts of random music on there, but it'll all be like the free kind, so you won't get strikes, but it'll be like the worst of all, like the free music, to make will that make the driver drive worse? But he has to get all the stars. Then the driver may come up with small talk and can decide, like, it play like a Walking Dead game.
All right.
Are there possible events where it's like an Uber pool situation where just an NPC comes in and you guys gotta either make it cooperative, keep it cooperative, or make it competitive on, like, if you try to make this person happy.
100%. Yes. There will be like late night DLC. When some people are partying, maybe partying a little too much.
Beer runs.
Making sure that you're driving well enough to keep someone from having to pay the $50 cleanup surcharge. Especially if you're in the Uber pool, that you don't want the NPC to mess up. You're about to go on your date, and the Uber pool may mess up your first impression. You don't want that.
You guys are something else. Sean wins that one because we're on a podcast and we are playing his game right now. So you lose, Cicero.
Yes.
We are virtually
Leveled
podcasting. All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, let's take this a little seriously here. I'm gonna flip.
Like we weren't taking
Yeah,
the
exactly.
previous one seriously.
Yeah, we made a good game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Two good games, obviously.
All right. I'm going to be flipping a coin here. With my trusty Flip a Coin app that I just downloaded before we started.
Okay.
And whoever wins this coin toss is going to be choosing what side they're going to be arguing. So Respawn is in early development of IP, a new IP, other than Titanfall, other than Apex Legends, other than Jedi Fallen Order. And I was just listening to Podcast Unlocked today, and they were talking about this as well. It's only a small team of like 5 or 6 people right now, so it's very, very early stages. But the question is, should they go the Jedi Fallen Order route and do like third-person action, maybe Souls-like a little bit, like they did with this new IP, or should they stick with the first-person shooter genre? So, Sean, you're gonna call it. What would you like, heads or tails?
Tails.
It is heads, meaning Cicero. You get to choose which one you're arguing for, and then Sean has to argue the other. So, Cicero, you start us off.
All right. I am going to give Sean the first-person shooter.
All right. Then why should they have a third-person action Jedi Fallen Order type deal?
Well, so I don't think they should have an action Jedi Order type deal per se, but I do think they should have a third-person game. And maybe because I'm so smitten, but a Destiny-like, an Outriders-like, if you will, type of game may be the thing that really kind of marries those two things, like the Titanfall sci-fi futuristic stuff that they were doing, but third person roguelike that they had with Fallen Order, but that action that you can RPG-ify in a looter shooter might be the way to go.
Okay. Sean, why is that the wrong decision? And why would a first-person shooter go better?
Yeah, I think you need to get your hands off of my my shooter access with your idea. I think you're getting a little too close to my side, and it sounds a little too agreeable. First of all,
no
second of all,
Right.
second of all, you gotta lean towards Titanfall and Apex because that is what they're best at creating the feel for. People love that Titanfall 2 campaign. So many people love an Apex. They're just really good at the feel and like expanding in different ways on how to do neat things with a first-person shooting. And with a couple other things that are coming out, they just are doing that mobile thing with Apex. And I think maybe not doing anything with Titanfall recently. But if it's a small team now, they'll have people to move over soon to work on more first-person shooting type things. And I think more people are excited to see what they do in that space, going back to the space, than they are about seeing them try to do a more Fallen Order type thing.
Cicero.
Yeah, if what they wanted to do was more a thing like Titanfall or a thing like Apex, then why not just do more Titanfall or Apex? right? Like if you're gonna put a team together to try and do something different, then do something different, right? And generally speaking, a team isn't going to just come out of, like, if you're making chocolate and vanilla cookies all the time, you're not gonna just automatically suddenly just make strawberry waffles, right? Like, you're gonna design something new. It'll be something with chocolate and vanilla in it, most likely. So I think that the smart deal for them would be to take the things that they've done well and see what parts of those things they can Frankenstein together to make something else in a space that exists, but they can do something different in it. And I really like what People Can Fly and Square Enix were able to do with Outriders. They took what Bungie had done with Destiny and said, hey, we played this game, but if we were doing it, we add these elements to it. And they were very successful with doing so, I think. And I think that EA has been looking for a game that will allow them to do that stuff. And very much in lots and lots of ways, Apex is that game, right? Where they've got a game that people have really gravitated towards, and they're spending tons and tons and tons of money with it year after year after year. Well, you want to repeat that success in different areas. And a way that they can do that is by creating a Destiny-like game, maybe a live service game, maybe a Destiny-like that's a closed service game like Outriders. I'm not sure, but I think that's where they're going to go, but it's going to be third person.
John?
I don't have to pull this card out because I like Respawn, but they just don't have the fashion game for what is necessary for that. The reason that, like, Dark Souls works, not the reason that it works, but a big part of that, and a big part of, like, Destiny, is the fashion side of it all. From what I understand of Jedi Fallen Order, you had a bunch of, like, lame ponchos on the whole time, and that's just not the kind of fashion game you need for that genre. They've proven that they can make interesting character designs for, like, characters that they have created that you play, such as, you just have the Titans, or, all the champs, or whatever they call them, Apex Legends. I just don't think they have the chops to create a whole fashion line for the kind of game you're describing, and that's just gonna really hurt them.
What's gonna really hurt you, sir, is having not played Jedi Knight Fallen Order, because while you're right, the ponchos were, they lacked panache, right? But where they really spent the time was where people really wanted them to, and that was with lightsaber porn. You got to sit and be meticulous with your lightsaber, and you were able to recreate iconic lightsabers from movies and all sorts of media, Star Wars media throughout the years. But you could also mix and match all of those things and create something completely and utterly new with different blade colors. And that's what people were most excited about, and not necessarily what your character was wearing. But I think they also proved that they could make those changes. But in addition to that, that's the part that I think is lacking in the fashion parts of those other games that you're talking about. There are shaders for guns and weapons, but you can't customize your weapons in the same way that you used to be able to, or like you can in Tom Clancy games. Like in Rainbow Six Siege, you can customize your guns. Or if you go back to Ghost Recon GRAW 2, they had the gun range, and you could do all sorts of really goofy things, and you could see it in your gun when you did a close-up. To do that kind of stuff with whatever weaponry they have in their upcoming game, so you can personalize them that way, and the level of detail that we get in the new consoles, so you could actually represent that while you're playing and hanging out with your friends and bragging about how you designed your gun. That's going to be cool. That would be cool. That'd be more cool to me than some armor that I'm going to replace because this is a looter shooter and I'm replacing armor all the time.
Anything else, Sean?
I'm just aghast at the future world that's definitely going to happen, where the main point of customization is how cool your gun looks.
Yes.
In a game. We all look like garbage. There's no personality there, but this gun,
yes,
I kill things good with it, and it's
exactly,
bright.
and it looks cool doing it. Looks cool doing it.
Oh man, so many good dings, so many good fights there. I want to give this to Sean because Titanfall and Apex Legends, they're just some of the best first-person shooters of all time. And but I think Cicero gotcha on this one. I'm gonna give it to him, and it's not because of your customizing gun stuff, sir. It is not. But I do believe that. I do believe that a looter shooter with a confined story, Respawn could tell that really well. So that's why I'm giving it to you. Sean, you did get a point, though, for using the word aghast. So that was good. Well, gentlemen, we have a blind fight. There is another fight that is not in our outline.
Surprise.
Sean, since you lost the coin toss last round, you automatically win this coin toss.
Great.
So the blind fight is, Sean, which movie was better, the reboot of Mortal Kombat or the 90s version of Mortal Kombat? Sean, you get to choose which one you would like to argue for. Cicero has to argue the other. Yes, we have all seen Mortal Kombat. We all pretty much enjoyed it. It was fun. But which one is better?
Yeah, I wish I'd brushed up on the old one, but I've definitely taken that one.
You're taking the old one. Cicero has the new one.
Okay.
Sean, why is the old one better than the new one?
Old one is better because it matches. It goes for a tone that more properly fits the series, where it's not too self-serious, but also it's not like incredibly wacky. It hits like a good range of campy. It's got the like fighters you know and love from that first story. I'm not super attached to like the having to meet the story of the game itself, but since they did go for it and they were able to do that with like hitting the story well and matching the tone of it, which is pretty out there for video games and movies, I think just on that alone, and obviously the song, that's it.
All right, Cicero, why was the 2021 Mortal Kombat better?
Because it was made in 2021. Yeah, so like so one of the great things about Mortal Kombat, when the arcade game released, it was the first M-rated game that you got to play out in the public, right? Like they were just doing all sorts of just raw things. And then the movie came out, and while it was fun, it wasn't doing raw things. But this new one, there were fatalities. There were hardcore fatalities. And there were so many that you can talk to your friends about what your favorite one from the film was. And that wasn't something that you got in the original. And that's what makes this one better. That is part of the reason that you love Mortal Kombat. It's because it's Mortal Kombat.
This is Mortal Kombat. Sean?
I'm trying to stay positive on this one. So I think my next point is just going to be the actors and the charisma that they have. Just Raiden alone, just so far above. Old Raiden is so far above new Raiden. And he's not like the POV character, but he's like the central like gateway into the weirdness, the mortal aspects of the combat, so it's not just a fighting movie. And going on the last side, I think just like the effects hold up better than the CG does. Like Goro in the old one Papa Goro isn't amazing, but it's solid enough. It holds up, and I think it's better than just some of the other than some shots like of him exploding out of the barn. I think overall, old Goro's better, old Raiden's better. The list could go on.
Well, original Raiden was based on the Japanese god and the god of lightning. And if you've ever watched any fantasy Japanese movies, the god of lightning always brings his hand up and the lightning comes down and he just kind of disappears into the lightning. And that was something that you got to see in this one with the Japanese Raiden, the god of lightning, taking everyone everywhere. There were actually some really nice subtleties in this new film that I don't think were appreciated. The Melina character, while they didn't do much with her, when they did have her on screen, there was the one moment, she was, Sonya Blade wanted to fight the girl with the teeth, and you see that she's got jagged teeth, but then when she got serious, she opened her mouth even further, and it was just like teeth just grew out of her face, like her mouth just got wider, and she just became even more menacing. I thought that was really, really dope. Yeah, man, this new movie, while it may not have the nostalgia, obviously it doesn't hold the same level of nostalgia as the original did. I think it was technically better and probably more true to what the series has become than the original is to what the series is now.
I gotta push hard against that because as I'm aware that they're just coming out of their second wrap uppening and rebooting of the series in the games, but in general the way I see the Mortal Kombat, what they're doing with it, at least mythos wise, is always expanding. And I think what the new movie does that totally detracts from the argument you just made is that it makes everything so at least with the Arcana, so clean. It's way too clean to be what Mortal Kombat is doing. And yes, they have the foreign creatures. We don't know if those we know Bat Lady's probably always been a Bat Lady or whatever. But I think just the cleanliness of everything wraps into I killed a person, I got this tattoo, and then I trained some more and got some power is just it's way too clean for Mortal Kombat, where you just have all these wild things happening all the time, and somehow it all does wrap up together pretty neatly in the end, but in a way that still lets everything be individual strands in a way that the new movie just doesn't allow it to be. Well,
so they weren't sure if they were going to be able to turn this into a franchise, so they needed to be able to make a standalone movie that also had room to grow, but be able to tell a story that was confined in here. But as we got our teaser at the end for possible sequels, and pending on the response from the community, we may actually get a sequel. But because they weren't sure about that, they had to hedge their bets narratively, Sean, and that is why, while what you're saying is technically correct, you have to give them some grace based on the realities of making a succinct standalone film.
I think you're just going further and further away from nailing the point, saying that this that like the franchise, that the movie has to be safe. No, man. If this was being true to the Mortal Kombat spirit, they're going wild out the bat, and they're going to be confident that they're getting the sequel, and they're going to get babalities in that sequel after they do the wild shit they're doing here.
All right, I've heard enough. Babality just won the argument. Cicero, that was a valiant effort. Although I do agree with Sean, I think I like the original a little bit better. But the fact that this was a hard R, hard mature, and the fight scenes and fatalities were amazing. I do believe that the spirit of Mortal Kombat is more captured in the original, with the wildness that you get there. So I'm giving it to Sean, even though I did enjoy the new Mortal Kombat. So, all right, let's move on to leaderboard. That was our fights, man. Test your might. That was good. You guys didn't agree as much as I thought you were going to. It was great.
We did it just for you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
We saved it.
Thanks.
You just gotta blind us with it, apparently.
Yeah,
Right.
that was a good blind fight, guys. I enjoyed it. All right, leaderboard. This week we are doing a top 5 bosses. So each of us will suggest 3, and then we will dwindle it down to 5. So, Cicero, go your way first. What are your top 3 bosses that you'd like to bring to the table?
The first one is Sephiroth.
Sephiroth?
The next one is the next one is Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic.
Darth Revan. Okay.
Well, actually, I guess it's Darth Malik from
Darth Malik.
Yeah, I think that's what.
I've never played the game, so I'm taking you for your word.
So yeah, not Darth Revan, but Darth Malik.
Okay, Darth Malik.
Yeah, and then the third one would have to be oh man, I don't know. Like, are there hard bosses now? You know what? The third one is the end race in the original Halo in co-op to make it it's basically the trench run from Star Wars in Halo. You're riding in the Jeep, but if you're doing it in co-op, you guys are both in different separate warthogs. So
are you talking about the Halo 3 or Halo 1?
And I think in Halo 1 it happens as well. In Halo 3 it happens. They have it's the Star Wars formula, right?
Okay.
They do trench runs again. So in Halo 1, you're riding your warthog to try and get off the Halo before the Halo explodes, and to the ship. And if you're playing in co-op, only one of the drivers, only one of the Master Chiefs actually has to make it in order for the cutscene to go. But like if you're playing co-op, you want to make sure that both of you guys make it. But if you're the guy behind, will you actually make it before the cutscene comes in? And that's the hardest boss. I've never been able to successfully do that.
Okay, so we'll do that. All right, Sean, what are your top 3 bosses?
Top 3 bosses. All right. It's gonna have to be Hubris. That's the final boss in a lot of games, especially like CK3. God Emperor Doom, a homebrew character from Legendary, the deck building card game.
Nice.
And Lu Bu, because you can't kill Lu Bu.
Yeah.
Do you want me to adjust any of those, Mike? I have backups.
Can you repeat?
All right, yeah. Hubris.
Hubris.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
God Emperor Doom, and Lubu. Lu space Bu. Yeah.
I mean, Legendary is not a video game. But...
It's games. It's games on the title. I put it there for that. I can't change it. I have
no, it's okay.
more
You said
correct answers
Lubu?
that I
More
am
correct
equally.
answers.
I feel equally about.
All right, we're going with those. We're good. We're good. Okay. You're funny. You're funny.
Doom's not gonna make it. I do want to replace Doom with the Guardian Ape from Sekiro.
Guardian Ape.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it because it is a video game. Guardian Ape. I want to play Sekiro. Do you recommend it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Shadows die twice, man.
I thought you were gonna say shout out. Yeah, shout out. Shout out.
Shadows die twice.
All right. So for me, I do have to throw in some Mortal Kombat. I just because I'm huge into it. So Shao Kahn, I'm gonna put as one of the bosses. I remember battling Shao Kahn in the reboot of Mortal Kombat 9, and he was very hard, very good boss to battle. So I'm gonna choose that. Bowser, right? Like, come on, we gotta go with the big lizard. Bowser. Gotta go with him. And then God of War 3, you fought Zeus at the end, and that was just such a fun fight because I'm pretty sure either part of it or all of it was in first person, and that was the first time they really did that. And so I gotta throw in Zeus on there. God of War 3, one of my favorite games of all time. All right. Sean, if there is one selection from your list, who would it be? You have Hubris, Guardian Ape, and Lubu. I don't know why it would happen.
They're all so good. It's hard to pick to hurt my babies. I think one of them has approached right here. So I'm gonna have to pick it. Hubris.
Yes, right.
I'm experiencing it right now. I'm fighting it.
It is the boss. It is the boss fight in every episode.
What game is Hubris in?
I mean, plenty,
life,
but including
life.
Yes. The Game of Life, Crusader Kings 3 for sure.
Yes.
The Game of Life. What version
the
are
Game
you
of Life.
playing?
oh man.
The new one. It's one of the many expensive DLCs in the Game of Life 2 that just came out this year or last year. I forget, but it's there.
All right, so Hubris is on there. I don't even know how to spell it. I spelled Huberos.
Oh no, Hubris.
Oh,
yep.
Hubris.
Hubris.
What do you put?
Hubris,
what do you put in a Burris in there for? Jeez.
It's just Hubris.
Hubris.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hubris.
you should pronounce
Hubris.
it Hubris.
I'm sorry. Maybe it just.
What's your name? Hello, my name's Hubris.
Yeah, I've definitely named an RPG character that before.
Yes, exactly.
Certainly.
It's from
Can't remember what it was.
Cicero, one from
the Wisconsin
your list.
Brisses.
And please make it the end race in Halo 1.
Listen, that trench run is
no joke.
right. Look, if you have had this experience, right? You listening right now, if you played this game with your buddy, you were in college, you were in high school, it was summertime, you and your buddies after 6th grade were sitting and you were playing the original Halo, and you got to this part. You wanted to end it together, and somebody's warthog flipped over, and that guy was like, "Go on without me," and he just kept moving.
I'll respawn later
to get that cutscene. You know it's that.
So is that your choice?
That's my choice.
I can't believe that made our list. That's awesome. All right. For me,
yeah, that's a real wild call there. Cicero. I don't know where you're coming up with this stuff.
I love that you guys take this seriously. It's great. Just for, I mean, I think from the most iconic from my list, I feel like we have to do Bowser. But for me, I would put Zeus on there because I love that fight at the end of God of War 3, and God of War 3 is great. So I'm choosing Zeus. Any others that we think should make the list? We have Guardian Ape, we have Lubu, we have Sephiroth, we have Darth Malik and Shao Kahn and Bowser.
I mean, Bowser's iconic, right? And to me, Bowser and Sephiroth are iconic bosses.
Would you agree with those two choices, Sean?
I mean, they're both chumps, especially Sephiroth. He's only from Kingdom Hearts, right? I'm just kidding.
No, he's in Final Fantasy FF7.
Oh, no way. No way he's in there. I got there. I got to the trains. He never showed up. I don't know.
You're scared of you.
No, yeah,
they
should be. They should be in there. They should be there.
I got to the trains in the first level.
Yeah, it's definitely in the first level.
Okay.
I got lost. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, so
if you go left instead of right, you can just end the game real quick.
We're getting off the rails. Speaking of trains. We have Hubris, we have Sephiroth, we have the End Race in Halo, we have Bowser, and we have Zeus as our top 5
Love it.
bosses. Write in, shout us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and let us know how wrong we were. We are at the 90s First on all social media platforms, as well as if you would like to support us monetarily. It is not necessary, but if you would like to, there is a way to do that. Head on over to our Patreon. That link will be down in the description. Well, guys, this has been Test Your Might 30. My name is Mike. That's Sean. That's Cicero. Thank you, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.